Welcome to Eagle News Canada. I am Lou Aquino, and here are this week's top stories. Greek protesters hurl raw fish outside the parliament. Artists and Quezon residents eat up Documenta excitement. The United Nations says Colombia's FARC rebels have handed over 30% of weapons. Munching goats help restore storm-damaged Brooklyn woodlands. Now for the details. Angry Greek protesters dumped several cases of raw sardines outside Greece's parliament on Friday as lawmakers inside approved a set of austerity measures submitted as last-minute amendments to a fisheries bill. The measures, which include labor and pension reforms, were demanded by the country's international lenders to conclude a long-stalled review of its bailout progress and qualify for more loans needed to repay debt maturing in July.
Και είναι κάποιοι που θέλουν να μετατρέψουν τη συζήτηση της Πέμπτης στο Eurogroup, αντί να είναι για το χρέος, να είναι για τα προαπαιτούμενα. Αυτό που σας ζητάω και ζητάω από το Ελληνικό Κοινοβούλιο είναι, θα δούμε και θα κρίνουμε όλοι μαζί τι θα είναι το αποτέλεσμα αυτό του Eurogroup, αν έχει δίκιο ο κύριος Βορίδης ότι δεν θα πάρουμε τίποτα για το χρέος, δεν θα μπούμε στο QE, όλα αυτά παίζονται κατά δική μου άποψη. Θα το δούμε τότε, αλλά για να μπορέσουμε...
During the debate, the main opposition party leaders slammed the government for tacking the measures onto a bill approving a UN Fisheries Commission measures to protect living marine resources in the Mediterranean, while Finance Minister Euclid Tsakalotos asked his fellow lawmakers to make a pass judgment until after the June 15 meeting of Eurozone finance ministers where reform progress and possible debt relief will be discussed, saying anything is possible. The government hopes that debt relief will help convince the European Central Bank to include the country's bonds in its asset buying program, a move that would help restore investor confidence. The legislation passed after all 150 deputies in the ruling coalition voted in favor in the 300-seat parliament, with 84 opposed to the bill. A total 237 deputies voted. Castell's Friedrichsplatz was abuzz with talk of Documenta 14 on Friday. A life-size model of Greek Parthenon, covered in forbidden books donated from around the world, stands in the center right where Nazis once burned their banned books. It is a centerpiece of Germany's biggest contemporary art exhibit. The exhibit, created by Argentine artist Martha Minanjan, is also a poignant visual bridge to Athens, where a sister Documenta 14 show is being held for the first time since the prestigious exhibit began in 1955. This year's dual exhibits include work by 160 artists from more than 50 countries and will continue for 100 days. Castel residents, members of the art world, and press scene pour through the more than 30 venues scattered throughout the city. A steady rise in interest in the event has seen visitor figures rise from 750,000 for Documenta 12 to an expected 950,000 this year. Previous Documentas have seen an influx of 15,000 visitors over the weekends in a city of just 200,000. Despite the heightened police presence and massive increase, Castel residents remain as excited and welcoming as ever.
Ich hoffe viel Aufgeschlossenheit der Kasseler Bewohner, was ja dann immer ist. Und ich genieße das einfach, diese schöne, interessante Welt dann. Ne? Es ist dann eben nicht Kleinstadt, sondern es ist, naja, Kleinstadt ist es ja eh nicht, aber es ist einfach Weltstadt. Ne? Und das finde ich sehr schön.
Documenta 14's themes are in large part politically charged, and many of the artworks have been tackled hot topics such as migration, belonging, and socioeconomic status. In tumultuous global political times, curator Adam Shimchek still want people to have art as a form of relief or of even fun. And those visitors looking for a reason to smile have their answer in the new gallery, where Annie Sprinkle and Ashley Hans-Carroll inject a bit of saucy irreverence. There has been some criticism that Shimchek's show is too intellectual, too political to be able to offer really new groundbreaking art.
I think that the exhibition doesn't need to be populist or even popular in order to be understood by quite a number of people. And there are always those who don't want to understand or who reject contemporary art or contemporary culture. I suppose this exhibition doesn't have an aim of converting them all.
At night, the altered lettering on the infamous Friedenischenum shines out. Being safe is scary. Turkish artist Banu Senitoglu found the motto gratified onto the wall of the National Technical University in Athens and brought it to Kassel. The Parthenon of books light up in the dark and draws in admiring viewers under the moonlight. The United Nations confirmed on Friday that Colombia's Marxist FARC rebel group has given it 30% of its weaponry, part of a peace deal signed with the government last year to end more than 52 years of war. The government of President Juan Manuel Santos and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC guerrillas, recently extended the deadline for the arms handover after logistical delays slowed the arrival of some of the group's 7,000 fighters to special demobilization zones.
Al día de hoy, la misión de Naciones Unidas tiene almacenado en los contenedores más del 30% de las armas de los integrantes de la FARC-EP, ubicados en las zonas veredales, y está en curso la certificación y acreditación de quienes han efectuado la dejación de armas a fin de iniciar su tránsito a la vida civil.
The FARC said another 30% of weaponry will be handed in on June 14 and the remaining 40% on June 20, the expiry date of the handover extension with the government. Under the accord, rejected in a public referendum but pushed through by Congress, the FARC will become a political party and most fighters will receive amnesty. Munching goats help restore storm-damaged Brooklyn woodlands. Arnie Aquino reports.
Nestled in the densely populated New York borough of Brooklyn, a herd of goats is diligently working on a woodland restoration project in Prospect Park, though their efforts only involve eating.
Hurricane Sandy came through, knocked down about 30 or so big trees. We had big light gaps opening, and weeds just flourished.
So the 4 goats, Max, Cinnamon, Swirl, and Unicorn, eat up to 25 pounds of underbrush each per day, clearing the way for their human counterparts to replant native trees. Zimmerman said the alliance wanted to find a natural solution to weed removal.
But we didn't want to use chemicals. People in the community, people in Brooklyn really would like it that us park managers, stop that or really reduce that. Goats eat weeds and they eat everything. They eat poison ivy.
Park goers said they liked the hoofed addition to the park.
I love that there are goats in Prospect Park. It's awesome. I love goats and seeing more wildlife. Well, I guess it's not really wildlife, but seeing more animals in Prospect Park is really great.
The organization's website said Prospect Park Alliance received $727,970 as part of a grant program for Hurricane Sandy relief. The goat crew is provided by Green Goats Farm in Rhinebeck, New York. For Eagle News, I am Arnie Aquino, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Arnie. Coming up, Canada plans military spending boost addressing U.S. pressure. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and former U.S. President Barack Obama hug it out after a dinner in Montreal. Canadian inventor of Hawaiian pizza dies. Canada to rely less on U.S. defense in a major policy shift. Eagle News Canada will return shortly. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Canada. Canada on Wednesday unveiled plans for one of the biggest hikes in military spending in its recent history, acting less than 2 weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump demanded that NATO members ramp up defense expenditures. Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan, unveiling a 20-year policy review that had been in the works for months, said the armed forces budget would jump by 73% to $32.7 billion in 2026 to 2027 from $18.9 billion in 2016 to 2017, with the biggest increases coming in later years.
The women and men who wear the uniform of the Canadian Armed Forces are at the heart of this policy. This policy is about them. Canada has asked a lot from our troops time and again in recent years.
The Liberal government made the announcement a day after Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland said Canada would have to play a larger global role as the Trump administration retreated from multilateralism. Canada and the United States are traditionally close allies, but the relationship has become strained under Trump, who was elected on a promise to quote-unquote put America first. North Atlantic Treaty Organization members have committed to spend 2% of GDP on the military, a target few meet. Trump last month upset NATO leaders by insisting they commit more funds and also by not personally affirming the alliance's mutual defense doctrine. Trudeau and Obama hug it out after a dinner in Montreal, Kent Soterio reports.
Former U.S. President Barack Obama dined with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Tuesday, June 6th evening at a Montreal restaurant. The former U.S. President, who was in town for a speaking engagement, ate at a Montreal's fashionable Liverpool House restaurant. Upon leaving the restaurant, Trudeau and Obama hugged and waved to crowds of onlookers who had gathered. Obama enjoyed close ties with Trudeau during his administration. For Eagle News, I am Ken Soterio. I am one with 25.
Canada's foreign minister says it will spend billions of dollars on defense and rely less on the United States, signaling a major foreign policy shift. As a consequence, Canada will have to develop its own hard power military capabilities to support diplomatic and development efforts abroad. Details are expected in a defense policy announcement Wednesday. Ottawa has been among Washington's closest allies. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has sought to coax Trump to embrace his liberal worldview, but with little success. Chrystia Freeland stressed Canada's disappointment with the U.S. decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. In 2 months, she faces a difficult renegotiations with the United States and Mexico of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, which U.S. President Donald Trump has lambasted as the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere. Ottawa's sudden break with Washington comes after German Chancellor Angela Merkel said last month that the United States was no longer a reliable ally, and amid public outrage in Britain over Trump's tweets seen as critical of London's Muslim mayor following an attack that killed 7 people, including a Canadian woman. Canada currently spends less than 1% of its gross domestic product, GDP, on defense, about half the 2% level demanded by Washington of NATO allies. In her speech, Freeland stressed that NATO and the alliance's collective defense principle Article 5 would remain at the heart of Canada's national security policy. She also highlighted threats to global stability such as civil wars, poverty, drought, and national disasters that spawn globally destabilizing mass migrations. Freeland indicated that although Canada has relied on the United States as a neighbor with great capabilities, this was no longer assured. The Greek immigrant who created one of the world's most popular controversial pizzas, Hawaiian pizza, in his restaurant in Canada more than 50 years ago has died. Sam Panopoulos, who earned a place in history by putting canned pineapple and ham on a pizza at his satellite restaurant in Chatham, Ontario in 1962, was 83 years old and had just celebrated his 50th wedding anniversary with his wife, Christina. According to his obituary, he died suddenly in the hospital on Thursday. Panopoulos had operated a string of successful restaurants with his brothers Elias and Nikitas when he came up with his famous invention. Created just for fun, the so-called Hawaiians soon spread around the world. Last February, the dish became the target of ridicule by Iceland's President Kuoni Johannesson. Saying he was fundamentally opposed to pineapple on pizza, Johannesson declared that it should be banned. After a public uproar, he clarified that he gladly does not have the power to make laws which forbid people to put pineapple on their pizza. Defending his creation, Panopoulos told the public broadcaster CBC that those days when he first came up with the idea, there was nothing to it. It was just another piece of bread cooking in the oven. Panopoulos said others soon began experimenting, going beyond the traditional pepperoni, bacon, and mushroom toppings to include salmon, green peppers, onions, or whatever you wanted. Up next, Tiffany Alisasis takes us to the 4th Street Lilac Festival. Iglesia Ni Cristo members sponsor a photo day in Western Canada. Eagle News Canada will be right back. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Canada. I am Lou Aquino. Calgary once again celebrated its 4th Street Lilac Festival. Tiffany Alisasis with the story. Take a look.
Welcome to the Lilac Festival.
It is time again for the 4th Street Lilac Festival. Each spring, thousands of people come to Calgary to enjoy this unique celebration. It happens along 4th Street with a parade that runs through 25th Avenue Southwest to 13th Avenue Southwest. The Lilac Festival began in 1990 after Cliff Bungalow Mission Community Association President Bob Lang and 4 others had an idea for an event to draw Calgarians into their neighborhood. From food trucks to clothing stores, jewelry shops to book stands, and even pottery stations. With over 500 vendors, the festival has a lot to offer. Local musicians and street performers enliven the atmosphere even more. Reporting from the Lilac Festival in Calgary, Canada, I am Tiffany Alisasis and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Tiffany. Iglesia Ni Cristo members in Western Canada offers professional picture-taking sessions during Photo Day. Kathleen Cruz reports.
We are here at JIBC in the city of New Westminster, where members of the Church of Christ or Iglesia Ni Cristo has organized a free photo services for everyone. Let's take a look. Many say a picture paints 1,000 words. Everywhere you go, you will find yourself or someone else taking a picture. Almost everyone likes getting his or her picture taken, be they selfies, portraits, group photos, couple pictures, and special event shots. Here in Western Canada, Church of Christ members offered free professional photo service for everyone. Free photo studios were set up for individuals, friends, and families to enjoy. The event organizers also hosted a discussion about proper use of social media. Musical numbers and games were an awesome addition to the activities. These days, social media has become a platform where everyone shares everything with the public. In this activity, the organizers stress what things are proper and improper to post online, something many of us need to understand. Reporting for Eagle News Canada, my name is Kathleen Cruz and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for watching Eagle News Canada. Visit our website at Eaglenews.PH. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. I am Lou Aquino. I am 1 with 25. See you next week.